Welcome to the reading from Agastya, Purpose of Life, from the Sacred Discourses of Agastya Valipadu. Sister Sumati will start reading. We are going to continue with what we left off from the chapter Progress.
Yeah, thank you. Whether the behavior of man is good or bad, the soul within him tries to warn him through his mind to cleanse his intellect. It is that guidance that comes from within that directs him to go in search of knowledge. It is common for everyone.
Here,
Let it,
Papa is talking about something that all of us feel. If you reflect on what is going on in your life, when you're about to do something that may not be conducive to Dharma, there is an inner voice that tells you, maybe not, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. And that is our own soul telling us to be careful not to walk on the path of adharma. Because the whole idea of Valipadu is that Appa Agastya is teaching us to walk on the path of righteousness, to build a foundation of righteousness on which knowledge is layered, and beyond that, go on to spiritual seeking and spiritual progress. So without the strong foundation of righteousness and knowledge, Appa says you cannot go forward in spiritual progress, because if you do, then you will, without a firm foundation in Dharma, then you are likely to fall down again. That is why we see a lot of great gurus, as we have discussed before, commit mistakes after they've achieved a great status. So what Appa is saying is, listen to that inner voice, listen to what your soul is telling you, because the soul is telling you not to do something wrong, then that is what is the right path for you. And when man realizes that what he is going to do or is about to do is wrong, then he starts wondering, okay, then what is right? How do I find this knowledge? And that's when he goes looking for knowledge. And this is not only for spiritual aspirants. Every man or woman who has a soul, and that is the thing, all of us are souls, then everybody has the same experience. One time or the other, something within us tells us not to walk on the path of adharma. Go ahead, sister.
Yeah, let us look at an example of an average man. Each morning, he wakes up saying, Appa, Father. Then, standing before the altar at the house, he sings devotional songs and bows. Applying sacred ash or kumkum to his forehead, he sets out to work or conduct business. Once he gets involved in work, closing the door of his mind and using his intellect, adding arrogance to it, thinking only of himself and his wants and what he wants to experience and his life, he forgets the condition of others, and having not even a bit of concern for them, becomes a demon. When his state of mind and behavior are shaking him up like this, the idea of spirituality, knowledge, God, temple, pilgrimage, all become like the sun that peaks momentarily and disappears from view from behind the clouds during the monsoon.
So what is Appa saying? He's describing our most of us, the way we live, very beautifully. He's talking about how each one of us, we get up, we do our morning prayers, and then we rush out to go to our work. Then what happens? We forget everything. We forget God, we forget the temples, we forget spirituality, because we are of this idea that spirituality is only when we are actually sitting and meditating, or when we go to temples or pilgrimages, or when we are having satsang with other people singing bhajans and stuff like that. But what Appa is saying here is, spirituality has to be a way of life. So once you go to the office and you forget all this, then what happens? You do something that you're not supposed to do. Most of us are guilty of that. We do not follow the path of righteousness, because sometimes it's easier to tell a lie. Sometimes it's easier to take a shortcut in something that we are doing, whether we're working for others or whether we have our own business. And especially in business, that becomes more of a problem, because then profits become more important than being righteous. So again, what does all lead to? The fact that we forget that spirituality is a way of life. We must remember what is important, what Appa is teaching us in Agastya Valipadu, which is to be righteous every moment. To know that satsang is not just being with people when they're doing their devotional chanting and prayers. Satsang is being with in the company of the good throughout the day. Satsang is being in company of good thoughts within yourself throughout the day. So satsang is also remembering God as much as possible throughout the day, because it is hard for us to always have God in the back of our mind. But how easy it is to remember some popular film song that we have heard and that keeps playing in the back of our mind. So that is how much our love for God should be, or much more than that, where God continues to play a divine or a presence in our life, guiding us. So if we just think about it, you're doing something, and if you think that your guru or God is in front of you, would you do what you're doing? You will immediately want to change how you address people, how you talk, how you do something. So we can always say that, okay, Appa's with me. If Appa was here, Appa, when I'm saying, is Agastya, would I do this? Would I react this way? Would I say these things? Would I be harsh? So we must always try to follow the path of righteousness in her mind, thought, and behavior, because what we see is what we're going to do, think, and what we think is what we're going to do. So let us watch what we see, what we read, what we hear, how we react to such thoughts, and how we bring those thoughts into actions. Go ahead, sister.
That is why such a man remains in a state where he does not change completely. Postscript. You must try to remove the blindfold from those that come seeking knowledge by sharing this important information. It is my work to give you all this light. The work that you are doing is the tribute you give to your Guru. The good work of helping 4 people walk on a good path will protect you and your children always.
What is Appa saying here again? He says that is why, people go to satsangs, people go to pilgrimages, people go to temples, but they do not change. They simply do not change because they are, not able to carry the feeling of divinity or spirituality throughout their life. So then what happens? Only during the time when they are in a temple or when they're doing something, then they start, being involved with God or thinking of the divine. But the rest of the time, they just forget what they're doing and continue their normal life. Then there is no change in the person. So, what is the whole idea here? If we are following the path of spirituality, what we read in terms of spiritual books, what we see in a temple or pilgrimage, or what we hear from a guru, these things must have a change in us, create a change in us. I know there are a lot of people in this group right here who are like that, who have changed themselves, just like I too have changed myself. As I was reading Balipadu, we have Sister Sumati who reads Satcharita every day, and her change is absolutely beautiful. And it is not that we were all, not good people or anything like that. It's just that we have changed for the better. We start understanding life better. We start seeing things better. So that is what this is all about. And when Appa says, you must try to remove the blindfold from those that came seeking knowledge by sharing this important information. He's saying that not only to Gajrat Swamigal, he's saying it to all of us, because all of us have the duty who are reading Balipadu, who are understanding this. Let us share this knowledge. This is important knowledge that changes lives. If one individual is changed, people around them change, and the social network changes. So the change comes from individuals like us, and that is what we must do. And this is our Guru Dakshina to our Guru, who is Agastya. So with this, that ends like the chapter on progress. So we'll continue with the chapter bound by the call of prayer. Go ahead, sister.
Yeah, bound by the call of prayer. While giving guidance to Gajaraj Swamigal and his family, Sage Agastya was explaining why gods and gurus continue to respond to the call of the wicked. Only one paragraph that is very important has been extracted from that discourse. The rest has not been reproduced here to maintain privacy of individuals.
So here
Sage
what
Agastya.
happened was this. There was a particular situation where, there was a question in Gajat Swamikal's family. Despite doing all these wicked things, why is God or Guru still responding to those people? Because we could see that too. So that is why Appa's responding to it. But think about it in our life. How many times haven't we said, look at that person? They're so wicked, but look at them, how beautiful their life is, how well things are going. So this is the answer that Appa is giving us. Go ahead, sister.
Sage Agastya. Gurus like me and even gods are bound by the call produced due to constant puja, yajnas, and homas.
This
And
is very, very important. So let me read that again, Sister Sumati.
yes,
Gurus like me. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Gurus like me and even gods are bound by the call produced due to constant puja, yajnas, and homas.
So look at that. What is Appa saying is extremely, extremely important. Gurus like me and even gods are bound by the call produced due to constant puja, yajna, and homa. So that is why in the Puranas, if you look at it, we see how Rakshasas sit and meditate and do yajnas and homas, and God comes and gives them the boon that they seek, whatever they seek. So each God is able to give something or that is connected to that God, right? They have certain powers. Same, so those Puranas are actually giving us the truth of what is reality. The reality is that no matter how bad a person is, if a person is able to do constant puja, yagnas, and homas, then the gods are bound to come and respond to that. And why is that? Because a certain vibration is created when a puja or a homa or yagna is conducted, which acts like a magnet. And that connects to the vibratory level of that particular deity, and that deity has to respond. So this actually can even be, has been and is misused by a lot of people. That is why a lot of people who do black magic and stuff are able to do those things, because they know this particular great revelation that Appa has given us. So if we think of how even the wicked can, get God's grace and get what they want, then we understand the power of the prayer, the power of our thought, power of a constant repetition of something that is more divine, that has higher vibratory power. That is why when you chant, mantras many, many times, even if you don't understand it, it starts creating a vibration. But more important than all that, if we follow what Appa is teaching us in Agastya Valipadu, then knowledge can take you higher than all this. But let's continue to see what Appa says.
And I am pleased with the purity and preciseness with which the pujas are performed there. We do not take serious note of the persons involved. The cleaning work should go on.
Now, this is again a very, very important thing that Appa is saying in terms of, a lot of people who are doing divine work in the world. And many times we all think, okay, that person is not a nice person. The background is like this. Why are they being allowed to do this divine work? And then there's another person who's misusing things, but they're still doing some of this work and they're still being graced by God. Why is that? Because they don't take, the gods and gurus do not look at the individual, the individual's merits and demerits when divine work is being conducted. There, the whole idea is the work itself, the effect of the work on other people. if the effect of the work on other people is good, then it doesn't matter if that person who's performing it is not up to the mark. In spiritual circles, we all make a mistake. When we see a spiritual leader, we say, oh my God, that person is this person has done something, this is his background, and we judge. Judgment does not exist in the higher realms. That is why it doesn't matter whether whichever guru we see out there, even those who are not really what do you say really spiritual, but if they are taking 100 people in a room and they are able to talk about God, even if they don't understand God, they are bringing the minds of those 100 people towards God. How important is that? That 100 people in that 1 hour are not thinking of any bad things. They're not doing any bad karma. They're not doing anything that is wrong for the society or themselves. So in that itself lies the merit. So when we are looking at people who are spiritual or who are doing work for the divine, we should stop judging them. It doesn't matter what they are. We must only see what the effect is on people. Then there are some people who misuse it, who take money from people, and then they create that show them things that are wrong. That brings karma to that individual. That has nothing to do with this. But if the idea is good, if it is a satsang where people are singing only God's name maybe 100 times, that's okay. That's what Appa is saying. So cleaning work should go on because the world is so corrupted right now. He says any effort made by anybody is welcome and important. And that is what each one of us can do. Help with Appa's work. Go ahead, sister.
It's the next chapter now on devotion.
Mhm.
Once devotees gathered for the Thursday evening satsang at Gajraj Swamigal's home had rendered devotional songs with much more fervor and devotion than usual. Addressing them, Sage Agastya said, cleansing the dirt within beautifully, allowing tears to well up inside, as you think of Anban and seek solace, you do not need to go to the temple. Thinking of the Aragan nearby, washing his feet with love, using the edge of his spear to remove the edges on your palms, with complete discipline without fail, if you call on Kanda with love every day, won't your worries end? Won't your tears stop?
This is so beautiful again. So this actually happened in Gajraj Swamigal's house. There was a satsang, and it was one of those days when people were singing these devotional songs for Muruga. When he's talking about Anban and Alagan, he's talking about Muruga, and everybody was it was so divine that there was tears flowing from everybody's eyes, and it was a totally charged atmosphere. So Appa says, when such a charged atmosphere is there, then you have invited Murugan himself nearby to you. In such cases, you don't even have to go to the temple because God has come to you because of your devotion. So what does that tell us? That whether we go to temple every day or not, if we can call out to God with that kind of fervor, with that kind of love, God will respond and God will come to us. So when he says, when you do this every day, your worries will end and your tears will stop. So there is, that divine love and grace will help us overcome our troubles. So that is how devout we can be within our heart, even without going to a temple. Go ahead.
Karpagavalli Vinayagan, he will come to protect you. If you wash his feet with your tears every day, you won't need flowers. You won't need prayer rituals. She is the mother who rules the universe. She will reveal different wonders in the 9 different forms that she appears in. She is Divine Mother. She is Adi Parashakti who will bestow boons without fail. She is the mother who rules the world. If you cry out to her as mother, won't comfort increase by itself?
Yes. So Appa's again, describing everything. But what I would like to add is we have Sister Usha Nair here. And Sister Usha Nair was part of a satsangs. She was very much part of our spiritual family. And she has witnessed all this and she has been part of all this. Those weekly Thursday satsangs we had when we would sing all these beautiful songs. And so she said, and he said, Appa, when we were singing this, he said, not only did you sing for Muruga, you sang for Vinayagan, and he came to protect you. He'll come to protect you. And then he said, Divine Mother, she rules the universe, Adi Parasakti. She too will come and help you and give you the boon. So if you cry out to her as mother, you don't even have to call her for in a 9 different forms. They have different names for the Divine Mother. She comes in different forms to give us different blessings. Just call her as mother, and she will come, and your comfort will increase by yourself. So, Sister Usha, we were just talking about you. I know you went out and came back, that how you were part of this divine family. Go ahead, Sister.
In the footnote, the 9 avatars of Divine Mother is given. Shailputri, or daughter of mountain, Brahmacharini, mother of devotion and penance, Chandraghanta, destroyer of demons, Kushmanda, goddess of the cosmic egg, Skandamata, goddess of motherhood and children, Katyayani, goddess of power, Kalaratri, goddess of auspiciousness or courage, Mahagauri, goddess of beauty and women, Siddhidatri, goddess of supernatural powers or siddhis. So we come to the next chapter, Call Out to God. A devotee approached Gajaraj Swamigal and wanted to know why God had not helped her despite her repeated prayers. She shared that she was undergoing a lot of trouble in her life. As usual, Gajaraj Swamigal closed his eyes and said, Agasthyaya Namaha, and then gave voice to his Guru's words. Sage Agastya. While you are on your way looking for the love of Armugan, the stones and thorns prick your feet and cause pain. Forgetting the beloved one that you're seeking, focusing only on the pain, remembering the stones and the thorns instead of trying to remove them, if you keep talking about the pain, how will God bless you?
Now, here again, the same, this also happened. There was a devotee who came and she said, she's going a lot of trouble. She doesn't know why God is not helping me. And, we do that too. We say, I'm going to through so much trouble and somehow I'm not getting any help. Then Appa Agastya says, when you're looking for God, when you're looking at God, searching for God, if you keep saying, oh my God, ayo, it's painful, what is going on with me? You're thinking more about the pain of your suffering than thinking of God. So he says, see, when we are thinking of the pain, that is the vibration we are drawing to ourselves. We are circulating the same vibration of pain over and over again as we're focusing on the pain, whether it's emotional, mental, or physical. But he says, if you forget that pain for a moment and think only of God, then things will change. So if you think of pain, how can God come and help you if you're not even thinking of God? So basically, he says, instead of saying ayo, ayo, say amma, amma, appa, appa, or God, God, and that will bring God to you. Go ahead, sister.
Mother, you who are thinking only of the pain, even though God is showing you the hand of courage, forgetting the veil of pain, reflect on why you are unable to see the God you have come in search of. First, check whether the path you are on is correct or not. Second, the inability to manage the pain caused by the thorn in your feet.
Now,
So,
Appa is
let us
saying
see.
here, so you're only thinking of the pain, and you're thinking why God is not helping you, but reflect. So when we face troubles, Appa saying, take a moment to start and reflect on what is going on with your life. Think about whether the path you're walking on is the correct one or not. So if you're going through a mental or emotional trouble, and you are doing certain things that are causing this trouble or in a certain environment, then look at it. See if you can change the direction. See if you can change your own behavior or attitude towards whatever is causing you a problem. So Appa's giving us advice to say, not only should you pray to God, asking for help, but you also use your discrimination, your mind, to understand what this is all about. Then he says, the inability to manage the pain caused by the thorn in your feet. So, is that a problem? That you are not able to, handle the pain? Then think about what you need to do to strengthen yourself, to be able to bear the burden of the pain. So, what is it that helps us when we are going through trouble? That which helps us when we are going through trouble is knowledge. When we understand that every suffering that comes to us is because of our own previous actions, then we will look at the trouble in a different way. We'll see it as karma coming into fruition, and we'll try not to create more karma by not reacting to it in a bad way, by accepting it, learning from it, and moving on. So these are important information that God has, Apagastya has given us. Go ahead, sister.
So let us see what needs to be done henceforth. You have experienced a lot of suffering in life and not the pleasure you asked for. In such a situation, if you hold on to the feet of God, He will never let you down. Another thing, if possible, deflect a little and find a different path. If you are unable to see a different path, turn your heart into stone, and as you proceed and experience the pain from the thorns and the stones, instead of crying out pain, pain, if you keep saying, Father, Father, you will not feel the pain. And won't you be able to see the way in only 3 days? Turning your heart into stone, instead of tying a black cloth on your eyes and holding on to the pain, remove that veil and follow only God. Everything will be all right.
Beautiful. This is so. Appa was that approachable to everybody. Appa was that helpful to everybody. So what he says is, when you're experiencing all this, and if you're not able to see a different path, if you're caught up in a situation where you have to undergo what you're undergoing, then steel your heart. Know that, okay, this karma I have to finish, and think of God as whatever is going on within you, outside you, within you. Hold on to God's feet and keep saying Appa, Appa. So this is what, if I think, for example, somebody is scolding you, very badly, go within and start chanting God's prayers. Start thinking of God, and it will help you. And this I speak from personal experience, because we all face this kind of issues in our life. So in the beginning, if something happened, I would get affected when somebody said something. But now when somebody says something, I just turn inward and I say, chant Appa, and I start talking to Appa internally, saying, Appa, you know what is going on. You take care. You help me. And that really does help. It does help us from changing our mind, our vibration towards the divine, which will always help us overcome our trouble. So he says, instead of tying a black cloth on your eyes and holding on to the pain, and how many of us are, guilty of doing that? We hold on to a pain, we constantly ruminate around it, we think about it, make it only become more and more and more, instead of letting go of it and thinking of God. Bring the God in so that the pain is bearable if you're not able to completely get rid of the pain. And that is the whole, gist of this. So at this point, if anybody else has anything to add, go ahead. Otherwise, we will continue next week. Sister Sumati, Sister Geeta, Brother Nandakumar, Usha, Praveen, Siddharth, any thoughts? Okay, so we will go ahead and continue next week with the next chapter, which is prayers at home.